Did you know that 80% of the residents in the City of Sydney live in apartments? But all too often when it comes to environmental policy and support, it's the forgotten sector. I'm Byrne and I'm one of that 80%. I've lived in apartments for decades and thankfully the City of Sydney hasn't forgotten us. I can't see myself ever moving away. You know, when I first made the move over to the other side of the harbour, I had a car and I was still in the habit of driving cars everywhere to work. We don't have a car now. We don't need a car, right? We've got public transport at the door. We've got every form of public transport within a 10-minute walk of us. When we go for a walk, we go down to the Domain and we go to Cook and Phillip Park and we go down to Mrs Macquarie's Chair and the Botanic Gardens. And we have a walking lifestyle because everything is within a 30, 40-minute walk of us. We can walk to the theatre. So much to do in the City of Sydney, and it's all walkable and it's all safe and we feel comfortable. And so yeah, we make some compromise because we live in a smaller apartment than having a big house in the burbs, but it's a lifestyle that once you get used to it, you just wouldn't change it. Over a decade ago, my life took a bit of a strange turn because I wanted to know what we could do about improving the sustainability of the common property in our apartment building. But there was nothing around. There were no reference sources around. If this is so hard for me to find out, why do we have to have everybody reinventing the wheel? So my husband and I founded a non-profit, Green Strata. What ended up happening on top of that is I became an advocate and a consultant at all levels of government. I was lucky enough to work with the Smart Green Apartments team at the City of Sydney right from inception. Magnificent team of people there. I've worked with other councils as well and there's great people there, but the City of Sydney shines. And what I also learnt about how the City of Sydney does things is, the amount of consultation and research and deep thinking and long-term thinking about what's really needed to affect change for people. So it doesn't think in terms of the next election cycle. We've got long-term strategies there. And, the City of Sydney not only does that, but then it shares it with other councils and around the world as well. We've learned a lot over the last decade and a bit. Energy efficiency turned out to be a no-brainer, and you're actually spending money to save money. But with a strategy to get to net zero by 2035, that's a different kettle of fish. And given the experience and the perspective and the understanding I have of this sector, I can see a number of obstacles there, but also a number of opportunities. And that's why I wanted to get involved with Clover and the team to help transition this really important sector for the City of Sydney to that goal of net zero by 2035. So this September 14, help Clover and her team continue the important work that's already started. Vote 1 Team Clover.